All right, welcome everybody. How's it going? Mark Howell here with Fund to Life. Here, joining me is Jimmie Plaskey with Executive Wealth Management, one of our generous and awesome mission partners here in Brighton, Michigan. And Jimmie, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well, Mark. Say, locked in quarantine here, the office and the bedroom, and they all turned into the same thing. So, how are you? I see the fire's got to be nice and warm.
I'm good. I wanted to set a nice romantic setting for our audience today. Mark and Jimmie fireside. Kind of a once in
Absolutely.
a lifetime opportunity here.
Hey, sign me up.
Yeah, that's right.
Sign
Well,
me up.
I was in my office, which is our living room that kind of looks out on our beautiful road, and the internet connection was a little shoddy, so I got closer to the router, which is over here somewhere buried in a cabinet. So
Hey, that works. Hey, I like it. I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of the fireside chat.
that's right. I
Let's
don't know
do
if
it.
we're
Let's get her
relaxing
going.
the whole time. My back's gonna get a little hot, so I might have to turn it off. But
Start
we'll see.
sweating.
If sweat just starts taking down, just forgive me, everybody. Well, hey,
Too funny.
wanted to take this opportunity just to kind of share everybody some, just some hopeful stories, some stories of, I think, hope and some impact that we were able to join up and make in the community. Obviously, there's a lot of fear out there, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of things that are awesome, very inspiring. And during times like this, I think it truly defines us as people, as organizations, as communities. And you see people coming out of the woodwork trying to help others and just help their communities,
Hmm.
people that are struggling a little bit more than perhaps you and I. And although we're quarantined, I think we're in rare cases where, we have food to eat, we have shelter, as you can see. We're surrounded by our loved ones, and we're very blessed in that. And not everyone is in that same position. And so I think using our resources to help others is important. And talking about different stories of people that are doing the
Right.
same, I think that's really important to shed more light on times like this. And then also just kind of be vulnerable and have a conversation on, hey, COVID-19 is impacting all of us personally, professionally,
That's crazy.
how that's impacting you. And I know a little bit about your story and how that's impacting you guys, but it's impacting us, it's impacting everybody. So just kind of have a candid conversation on, hey, this is what we're doing personally, professionally to navigate these times. These are some cool things that we've done together recently. These are some things that we're trying to do going
Yeah.
forward. And just maybe inspire some more hope and inspire some more good out there in the community.
Sweet. I'm in. Yeah, sign me up.
Awesome. So
I
tell me,
say I
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll say, I mean, just talking about things we've done in the community, I think is kind of intro for you and I are picking this up like we've talked 100 times in the last year, which we have. But for those that are watching, I work for a company, Executive Wealth Management, located in downtown Brighton. We are a mission partner of Fund to Life, huge supporters of Fund to Life of Mark and his journey and his mission. We get out to volunteer the events. And something we're super excited about, and one of the pillars or the three pillars of executive wealth management, trust, compassion, and community. And that community one, like you said, is an important one right now. That there's a lot going on that, as markets and as, portfolios, we're monitoring and watching, making tactical and pro-tactical maneuvers as needed. But it's the community. It's the pillar. It's what we need right now. Like you said, it's reminiscent of years past of major events in our country's history where we said, hey, we got to come together as one, right? And kind of shed that light. And so really want to just compliment you and driving and bringing us a part of this journey with the Torch 180 and Bountiful Harvest this last week, getting together to be able to provide some meals for people in Livingston County.
Yeah, well, thank you, and thank you guys for your support. I mean, I think collectively, obviously, once we got wind of what Bountiful Harvest, I mean, a huge thing right now was food for
Mm-hmm.
people and the huge, scavenging for what that meant for different people that really were in desperate need of food. And
Right.
Bountiful Harvest and the Torch were serving thousands of meals a week to people that were relying on skilled, different food plans in the schools. They were relying
Mm-hmm.
on different programs at home
Yeah.
that
Food banks. Oh yeah. Additional.
short term they all went away, right? So it was all gone. And so they were serving thousands of meals, and
With
we
the
were able to,
surplus of more people too, right?
yeah, huge, yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly. So now you have the people that were already needing their services that they were servicing on a regular basis, and now you have
Right.
way more people that are rushing to their doorstep trying to get help as well. And so that's a scary time. And collectively, we were able to, award them with $4,000 each, which was
Yes.
pretty awesome gift.
Yes.
For us to be able to make a gift, you guys match it. I mean, what an awesome gesture by you guys to be able to do that. And we were just blessed and honored to partner up as usual and make a big impact with two huge organizations doing amazing things in our community. So that was awesome. Thank you to you guys.
Hey, no, thank you. And I'm going to say 3 organizations that we get to partner with, including Fund of Life.
That's right.
You know, as always, I'll never not say, you know, that, give you the plug and say thank you for what you're doing, because this is incredible. You know, like you said, it's a time to shed light, to have something good happen. And, you know, Mark, I put you at the tip of that spear of making the good word happen and shedding that light, because there's a lot of negative stuff going on right now, that there's limited live TV. You and I are both sports guys, so you have, you know, a lot of limited entertainment. And so it's a lot of focus on this negative stuff happening in our country. And so it's nice to be a part of something like this. So thank you for, you know, bringing myself and Executive Wealth Management on this.
Yeah, thank you.
The fireside chat.
Yeah, right. That's one of the cool things I love about, sometimes it's a pro and a con, the flexibility of our mission, because it's hard to choose sometimes and hard for our grant review committee to elect how are we going to make an impact with our mission being so broad that we can help people facing major life altering circumstances of all kinds. And it's like, so that went from, you know, maybe a small bubble in different individuals' lives, you know, before COVID-19, and now it seems it's almost everyone encompassing, you know. And so that's the cool thing there, was it offered us the flexibility to be able to help maybe a bigger array of people and more of a community outlook than just an individual. And, you know, as we still continue to look to impact individuals as well. So it's, I like that flexibility there, and it's, you know, proves sometimes to be beneficial, and other times makes it a little harder, but it's proven to be a benefit right now for sure.
Absolutely. In every capacity, right? I mean, monetary in the ways that we can, but obviously now on these social media platforms, right? Because that's what a lot of us have time to do is just to visit stuff like that. So this is a great message. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So, you know, as we kind of get through, as kind of like an intro to EWM, just kind of give the people maybe a little bit of intro if they don't know who Executive Wealth Management is, if they don't know Jimmie Plaskey, you know, give everybody a little bit of intro, and then we'll kind of navigate maybe some of the things that you guys are doing, how you're navigating these times personally and professionally, and we'll kind of go from there.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Like I mentioned, Executive Wealth Management was founded in 1985 in Brighton, Michigan. We have 4 offices in the state. Our headquarters is in Brighton. That's where I work. There are about 10 advisors in Brighton, about 16, 17 total in the firm. We manage just under $1 billion. We're really proud of that. That's something that means a lot to us, because we are a big firm, but it's not that number style client, right? It's a personal touch that, with everything going on, right, our clients have been utmost, you know, important and first to us, that we've made the contacts, that we've made the defensive allocations in portfolios, that we've been very straightforward and transparent. The transparent part is important. You know, one thing that is important to know, that is the financial services, we are considered an essential service in the country, so we are open. We are all trying to work from home, as you can see from my background here, because we are primarily locked down. You know, a lot of our clients tend to be elder individuals, so we want to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe, having all of our reviews via teleconference and video chat similar to this, just making sure that everyone's looking out for their loved ones, that we can flatten this curve and make sure we can get back to, you know, back to normal this summer. Yeah.
Awesome. And now, how has that, you know, how have you guys kind of had to maybe navigate some of those changes professionally? And, you know, obviously you guys have been impacted substantially by everything going on. All of your clients have been impacted by everything going on. What types of things are you guys maybe doing, or how has that, you know, impacted your ability to service your clients, and how are you kind of doing that? Maybe some advice for some of the people watching. What are some things that you guys can proactively do to just help through the time? You're obviously not going to be able to eliminate all the risk and everything else, but what can you do to just help, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So kind of your first question was, you know, how are we servicing clients? How are we making sure that, you know, we're available? The beauty of being 2020, is that technology is flourishing, right? I mean, we're doing it right now from the safety of our homes. So all phones ring to our personal phones or the phones at our offices. We all have our computers set up here. So emails, everything's available, you know, by phone, by email, making sure that our clients know that when times are good in the market, it's easy to invest and it's easy to be all in and to take those risks. But it's a time like this that we're really take a step back and say, okay, where do I fit in this situation? I individually. I call it the water cooler syndrome, right? That we're talking to our colleagues at the same age with maybe a similar number of kids and they're the similar age, but your financial plan is completely different, right? You know, Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones are in completely different tracks because of their goals, because of what current debt looks like, because of what cash flow looks like. And so that's what I'd really say kind of in this time is to kind of take that gut check and say, okay, where are we, right? When do I need access to this money that's invested? If it's 5-10 years away, then it's okay to take some risk. If it's sooner than that, well, then maybe we shouldn't be taking as much risk. And if it's money we need in the short term, it shouldn't even be in the stock market, right? So those are those risks we don't want to take. But then also, kind of like I mentioned earlier when we chatted about, there's no live TV, there's no live network shows, there's nothing, right? And so what are a lot of people watching? They're tuning into financial news for the first time. And what I would honestly say is if you're not one that typically watches financial news or looks at your accounts regularly, now's not the time to start, right? Because there's nothing else going on. And so all it is like you said, kind of that negative annotation of the world's going to end. We have all of this stuff happening. And that's where I think, you know, you invited me to have this conversation and say, hey, the sun's shining, right? The things are going to be okay, right? We have our family, we have our health. And that's what's important right now. You know, I think it's kind of a good gut check for all of us to say, hey, all those idols are gone, right? I mean, as you kind of look at this different stuff of society is what's important to us. And it's a nice humbling experience, I think, to say, okay, let's kind of take that gut check and go back to where we started. Is it easy? Absolutely not. You know, I get that. But I do kind of appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you appreciate my whiny daughter in the background? Can you hear her? I don't know.
No, didn't even hear that. No.
All right.
And I say, fortunately, no whiny daughter for me. Do have a new puppy, but that's about it.
I was trying to give the eye look, you know, like get her back downstairs.
I thought it was me. I'm like, what'd I say?
I know. No, awesome. Thanks for sharing, Jimmie. Obviously, I know,
absolutely.
You know, for me as well, but for everyone else watching, tuning in, I mean, even for you, right? Everyone has the same concerns over their financial well-being right now, and so many unknowns. You know, all that we do know is eventually this will be over, and eventually it will rebound. It's just a matter of nobody has any idea when, right? So
correct. Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no guarantees, right? I mean, past performance is no indication of future results, right? Got to say it. But like you said, I mean, historically our country has rebounded from stuff like this, that we are unity, we are a resilient country, and this and that. And one thing I didn't mention that definitely want to do is this stimulus package. There's a lot of talk about it. It's just been passed. People getting checks. I encourage viewers, yourself, to reach out to those professionals, whether it's a financial advisor, myself. I'm happy to answer any questions, you know, or anybody else in this capacity to make sure you know what's available for you and to you, and that you're making those best decisions. If, you know, skipping a particular payment is what's available, it might not be the best thing for you because you can afford to make that payment and don't have to worry about some of those different things. So that's what I really recommend, is to kind of take this time to go, hey, we got nothing going on, just like the spring cleaning, just like all those other stuff, you know, those things we're doing around the house. Finance is one of those things that now we have some time that, you know, it's not worth pushing off anymore, especially in an environment like this. You know, as we talk about making sure that we have our state documents set up, that we have our healthcare power of attorneys, right, and some of those legal documents, because again, what's going on right now, no one knows what's happening, and you know how it's going to affect each and every single person that it hits. So it's making sure that we have all those documents in place to protect ourselves and our loved ones. I can't say that enough. Absolutely, this is that time.
And I think one thing that I take out of that, everything that you said too, is essentially everyone's individual plan and situation is unique, right? And so that's where, regardless of where they're at financially, you know, speak to their professional. If they don't have one, please reach out to someone like you, and you can help have an open conversation with them. You can have kind of a guided discussion with them. I know that for me personally, I have no problem sharing. I mean, I'm not a wealthy person by, you know, the community's means where we live and everything. And we've had a lot of discussions. Some of them have been disaster scenario situations, and you've helped me navigate some of those. And other ones are really, okay, once we get out of that treading water phase, maybe these are some things we can put in place. And I think so, just for our audience listening, you know, for those that either maybe have a lot of money stored away or they have a lot of wealth and are looking to do some different creative things, reach out to your financial professional. For those that are maybe struggling, they're not really sure what to do, or, you know, if they have no money to put, but they just want to have a discussion with somebody as a sanity check or to help them plan for the worst, help them navigate through that, they can also reach out to someone like you, and you can help them through that discussion. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Right. I mean, I say this all the time to clients, and I truly do mean it, right? Is there's things that we want in life and there's things we need in life. And as individuals, subjectively, those wants and needs become one at a certain point, right? I want a new phone or I need a new phone. At what point do they become one? And so that's what I like to be. And I think a financial professional serves as that objective voice in the room to say, hey, I know you want it, but let's plan for it, right? Or if we need it, let's be able to pay for it with cash, let them to borrow money from someone or something like that, whatever that item might be, not just necessarily a phone. But absolutely, right? Being that objective, that third party in the room. Absolutely. Just real quick, I say if I get that chance, right? It's on a personal level, like you asked me earlier, and I didn't mention this, but who's Jimmie Plaskey? So myself, right, I'm a certified financial planner at Executive Wealth Management. I've been there since 2011. So I'm coming up on my 9-year anniversary. And, with that being said, and why I got into this industry is a time like this. In 2008, people didn't have access to a lot of the information. Finance was a little bit different of an industry then. And my parents were one of them, just didn't get that education they needed. So as a financial advisor, as a financial professional, there are 3 words that I try to use with all my clients. That's education, inspiration, peace of mind, right? I want to educate you best I can. Sometimes you need a little bit of kick in the butt with the finance side. It's like calling your accountant or the insurance guy, right? I know that from personal experience and always want to do it. So someone's got inspiration to get some of that stuff done. But ultimately, then at the end of the day, especially in a market in a time like this, is a peace of mind that you or one can put their head on a pillow and go, okay, I understand where I'm at financially, what needs to get done, because people stress about not knowing, and that's just not fair, right? Take the time to build the blueprint for your plan to say, okay, where do I want to be in 3, 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now? And then let's start to build towards that, knowing that it's going to change and that we just have to adjust accordingly.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And kind of going through, we've touched a lot on the kind of the professional stuff. Obviously with Fund to Life, it's impacted us as well. All our, our next big events, is our 4th annual 5K coming up in July 11th. I mean, I haven't really promoted it since everything came out with COVID. Who knows if it's even going to be able to put on? It's just kind of like a giant unknown. And I know a lot of people are in that world of unknown, and it's impacting all of us, right? So it's impacting, for somebody like us that are looking to impact people's lives, we need funds to be able to do that. And it's a little bit of a quirky time right now to be asking for funds and support, even though there are people out there that have the ability to do so. And so, it's kind of like a weird moment for us too, as we transition into the summer months and wondering, are we going to have one of our biggest fundraisers? Are we not? If not, what kind of steps are we going to have to take to kind of rebuild that once everything turns around? And because Fund to Life, you can't afford to go anywhere. We still have lives to change and help, and there's going to continue to be probably even more people than ever before that we need to help. And it's companies like yourselves that you guys have committed yourselves to partnering with us all along, and that's awesome. Going to help keep us going and impacting lives, and that's pretty sweet. I know, kind of transitioning a bit from the professional realm. Did you have anything else to add, maybe professionally? I know that personally, I want to kind of get into a little bit of your kind of how COVID-19 has impacted you, because it's everybody in a lot of different ways. Some people are sick, unfortunately, and our prayers and thoughts are with them. Some people are just stuck in their homes, and some people are whining about just little things like that, right? In my mind, little things where you're now blessed to be able to spend all your time with your family, and that should be a blessing, not a curse, although sometimes it's mixed. And those lines get a little blurred. Like today, I think my wife and I wanted to kill each other, but that's all right. We survived,
Yep, as long as you don't, right?
That was our first big blow up since COVID-19 hit, so it's good. We're like 3 weeks in, we're at home 24/7, and today was our first day of breaking, so it was good. But tell the audience a little bit about how it's impacted you.
Yeah, I know you know this, and it's something that's impacting a lot of people. It really, I was first personally affected by everything that happened with it beginning of the month. I'm getting married on Saturday, April 4th, marrying the love of my life. I'm very excited about it, but the actual, thank you. The actual reception and ceremony have been postponed to next year, with everything going on. It was just not a good decision to get, all those people together in one room, people high risk, even those that weren't, right, but just the concern of our society and as a whole. So, made that big decision. It was something that, we, talked about and prayed over for a couple of days, and ended up having to make that big decision. But fortunately, the church is still going to, or our priest is still going to go through and marry us in front of just our parents and siblings. And, it's something that You know, we've had a little bit of that pity party, right, as everybody can say, but they didn't last very long because, you know, as we've discussed and what we know, right, is I'm not the only one affected by this. I've had friends, now friends and family, both have to cancel weddings into May. You know, I've had friends and family have to experience funerals or not experience funerals, but, you know, losing a loved one and not being able to go to that, like I couldn't imagine. Or a birth of a child and the father can't be in the delivery room. So there are a lot of major life events that we're all going to, you know, it's going to affect all of us. And, you know, we put a smile on about it because, you know, life still goes on. And these are events are something that are going to affect all of us, but it's a story for that situation for, right, the rest of our lives, right? That, you know, the spring of 2020 is something that you'll all talk about. That, like I said, it's not just my wedding. There's a lot of us affected by it. So, you know, it's real. It's very real. That especially in finance, you know, those, I think it's like what, Monday the 16th or something like that. Monday the 9th, we have a 10% drop or 9% drop in the market the same day I have to cancel my wedding. I'm like, personally and professionally, this is chaos right now. But obviously everything rebounds from that, and you know, it's not going to be down forever. And so, you know, I got a great partner, and I know that if Sydney and I can get through this, we'll get through pretty much anything.
And I think what the audience is really wondering right now is, and I know Sydney is a sweetheart, but, you know, talk about just your average, you know, run-of-the-mill woman, you know, that's planning the wedding, and, you know, she's really stressed out about it, and it kind of has like those bridezilla tendencies that everyone knows about, especially as you get close to the wedding. And then picture everything that hit the fan with COVID-19. I mean, how is she now holding? I mean, obviously initially it was probably, wow, I don't.
Absolutely.
She's doing all right now. Is she recovered?
Oh, absolutely. She's been really, really good. You know, for those that know me and her, I am definitely the empathetic and emotional one in the relationship. So she has been a great rock through this. You know, I think we have for each other that, you know, we kind of made the comment the other day that, you know, we get really sad about it and people get sad for us. Because we understand that, you know, it became a logistics thing after a while, right? Making sure vendors and finances get figured out with that sort of stuff and in that situation. But, you know, again, you know, as we got the first news, that was a very emotional day because that was as everything first started and it was like quarantined to 250 people. And then like the next day, so the venue called us, tried to cancel. We said, no, it's 250. We're good. We'll be right there. And then it went to 100 the next day, and the next day went to 10. So we had like 3 consecutive days of kind of being in the ring and throwing some punches back and forth till, you know, Uncle Sam came out and said enough is enough for everybody. And so that was kind of just the best decision we had to make.
Yeah. Wow. What a roller coaster, right? And I
think
you
absolutely
touched on something, you know, kind of throwing your pity party, right? Which all of us, I think it's, you know, I think there's a fine line because obviously COVID-19 has impacted everybody in very different ways, but it has impacted everyone. I think it's okay to, you know, kind of go through that moment of feeling sorry for yourself, being scared, being worried, being concerned for all those things. And I think some people want to go on one side or the other. They either go like way off the deep end, you know, and they kind of lose their stuff. And I think other people are like, oh, it's not a big deal. And, you know, they kind of try and brush off everybody's concerns. But at the end of the day, everybody is concerned, worried, fearful of something. And I think the important thing is you need to go through that emotion. You can't hide it away. You can't pretend it doesn't exist. You got to experience it so that you can.
Yeah, what do they say? Yeah, denial is the first step, and then you get to acceptance.
Yeah. So, I mean, experience that. You then go through it, heal together, especially if you have loved ones or family around you. And then, you know, look at all the blessings that now surround you that you're forced to endure through, and try to look at the bright side of everything that we've been given now. I mean, it's forcing all of us to slow down. It's forcing all of us to spend more time alone or with your loved ones, doing things that are maybe considered more essential, and all the non-essentials have gone by the wayside. And even work, you know, a lot of the work that all of us are doing for the, you know, a lot of us, I mean, the hospital workers and those first responders are obviously crazy busy and they're keeping things afloat. But for the rest of the world, we're doing things to try to keep our businesses afloat or to keep our families going. But a lot of them, it's funny, like even in myself, I know I've slowed down a lot at home. And when I take a step back, I said to my wife the other day, like, I could get used to this pace the rest of my life. I mean, it's kind of, it's kind of rewarding to be like, wow, like I don't need to grind. I don't need to do that every day just because I feel like I need to. And you can make an
Right.
impact.
It's dangerous. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I find myself spending a lot more time with my kids, watching movies, playing with
Mm-hmm.
them, going outside, taking naps, doing
Mm-hmm.
stuff that
Yeah. And
never, ever do.
yeah,
And
I could see that. I could see having that. I mean, because I'm my business. I'm definitely busy, with what's going on.
right.
But I could definitely see how a lot of things are slowing down. Right. The calls that I typically make to my busiest clients are, 2-3 rings picking up. Right. Because it's not, again, it's kind of like the situation that we just talked about with my personal one is it's not just us slowing down. It's everybody slowing down. So I
Right.
think, like you said, that sense of like urgency, I think you put it right, or just being overwhelmed with like so many different tasks and things to do and the day ahead, and everybody's kind of went, okay, right, like, and I think this is where that conversation goes. It's like, okay, what's good going on? I mean, you're an internet guy, and what's going on? I think you saw there, you may have seen that, like super good news. John Krasinski, the guy from The Office, I don't know, he did a video, and it's like that's what we need, right? It's just a good message, good stories, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of good going on. Like one thing that I'm super, super proud of our firm doing, it's not just, the monetary donations, it's getting involved with the community. That, one of our directors up in Fenton got his wife, his mom, I mean, the whole community supported and surrounded them. And they're making masks out of furnace filters for medical professionals and first responders up in the Fenton, Flint, Genesee
That's
area. Tongue twister, my bad.
that's Mike
Amazing,
Lee,
right?
Is Mike doing
Yeah,
that? That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
That's
Mike
so cool.
Lay, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give him a name drop. Absolutely, Mike Lay, director. This guy is one of a kind. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like it to me, it's people say, hey, well, what can I do to give back? And if you can financially give back and are in a position to do that, absolutely. But if not, there's a lot of other ways to do that. And it's even like having a conversation with my mom the other day of, can we just go take signs, have all the kids at home use cardboard boxes or brown paper bags and write thank yous for first responders and just put them on the street, line the hospitals, like just little things like that where, we can come in as a society, like again, a resilient community, unify and say, let's do this. Like, let's take care of this. Let's do what we have to do. Let's take care of our families and loved ones, but know that we're in this together, right? Treat your neighbor like yourself.
100%. No, I think
Absolutely. And
it's
it's
awesome.
just,
I think that's one of the cool. I mean, it's one of the cool things that comes out of things like this is, you just see the best in people. And so many times just in normal everyday life, the normal everyday grind, we as a society, I think, have a tendency to gravitate towards seeing the worst in people and bringing the worst out of each other, bringing the worst out of ourselves. We're just angry. We're ground down. We're busy. We're tired. And in times like this, everyone takes a step back and you see the cream rise to the top, and you see the absolute best in everyone, and it's in almost all people, and it's amazing. Right. It's a really it's a proud moment to be an American. It's a proud moment to be alive and witnessing all the good going through it, and just be a community member. And obviously, we live in one of the most generous and communal areas I think in the world in Livingston County.
oh, yeah.
It's just it's such a blessing to live here, and the people are so generous. It's just what an awesome blessing we all have just living here and watching each other do amazing things.
Yeah, and I completely agree, and I know you and I are both optimists. Our glass is half full, and there are plenty of people that aren't, and what I would tell them, and like you said, there is that phase of what's going on with everything. Can we be in a position to accept what's going on? Like you said, kind of polar opposites, right? That as optimists, you and I are gun ho, the day shining, let's go, let's attack the day, give hugs and kisses and smiles and keep going. Where if not, I think there's plenty of things to put yourself in that mood, to get in that routine. One, I would say, if you're working from home, change the scene, right? If it's a beautiful day, go sit outside for an hour or so. And it's not going to rain. It doesn't hurt to take your laptop. You can do that stuff outside, right? I mean, I'm a fan of meditating, always have been, but a little bit more than ever now. I use a couple apps to do it. One particular that I really like. I'm an outside guy. I'm a workout guy, and it's not necessarily a situation that's best for all of us. So it's trying to quote unquote kind of blow off that steam every day, to the best I can. And to me, it's focusing on the day and then unwinding the day on a mental side, which I think is something that I've always wanted to do, but I've never had the patience to do it. And like you said, Mark, now's that time, right? I mean, all we've got is time is to do some of these things to take care of ourselves. So I think, you know, a lot of internal mental seeking, and then, you know, the spiritual side of things, you know, if someone's into that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, as a younger professional, you're much younger than I am. I'm more of the veteran here, but, you know, how do you, what are some tips or advice or some things that, besides the meditation and some other things like going outside, maybe routine wise, to establish a new routine at home to be productive, be as productive as possible? I mean, what are some things that you're implementing? I mean, you're heavily involved in young professionals groups and leading some of those groups. And so I know that you're speaking with a lot of those people, and there's probably a lot watching right now as well. So what, you know, what are maybe some tips or advice that you can give, especially to the younger professional community that they don't have maybe the discipline or the years of experience on, you know, really having a routine no matter what, that maybe
Right.
some of our dads have, you know, they just grind it out.
Yeah, or even working from home. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. They're not used to that, right? So I mean, what are some tips that you might
Yes.
have?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess not tips, right? I mean, I guess it's what's working for me, in terms of, you know, the day to day, that if people aren't comfortable working from home or used to working from home, this is definitely a change of things. That for me personally, I get up, I shower every day, I put on something a little uncomfortable, like I would be going into the office, and I come in the room and close the door. And you know, my fiance and I have a rule that if the door's closed, you don't no interruptions, no matter the situation for either of us in these offices, because it's making sure that you can focus on what you have to do. So I'm a fan of getting up and showering. Actually, lean over here. I have this little alarm clock I use. So I turn it and it starts beeping for the different times. So I try to segment my day out, because I'm one that's like, hey, my list is 100 things and I can't do any of them because it's 100. So where do I start? You know, where everyone says just start at one and go from there. So I use a little timer. So I try to break up kind of the monotony of the day, into some different sections. You know, with the unfortunate event of the wedding and everything being canceled for the next couple of months, this is not something I recommend for everyone. But I went out and got a puppy, a new member of the family. So you know, he's definitely been helping, you know, keeping us busy, keeping things focused. But for me, it's like
that kind of being a trend. I've been seeing some people, you're coming home with puppies,
I mean,
like, hey, why not? You know?
we're home for the next month. You know, we were going to get one in June after the wedding and everything, but since everything got canceled, you know, we're like, no, we deserve this dog after what's going on.
Yeah, you do. And you can potty train it now, right? Everything's great.
I'm happy I did it now, because if I wasn't home, it'd be definitely a different story. I get that. You know, it's nuts. You know, and and I don't know. I mean, just the conversations that you and I have had. You know, it's like, you know, trying to break things up. I got cousins all over the country, so you know, we're doing a video club or a movie club, you know, instead of a book club, for some of the younger professionals kind of tuned in. We're all watching a movie. We created one of those free polls on a website, so we all vote. You know, whatever top 5 movie gets the poll, we all watch and get on a Zoom or Google Hangout or a FaceTime or a GoToMeeting or something just like this, and then have a chat. And I think it's pretty cool that I've connected with a lot of friends that I haven't talked to in a while, you know, geographically, that are further away, kind of due to this, what's going on. So you know, our close friends and our neighbors we're not necessarily seeing, but those are a little bit further away that we don't communicate with as much. I think that's really starting to help. And so, you know, the one thing that I would say, even though I've said a lot, is if you're texting with a young professional, which is a friend, a sibling, a cousin, whomever, and they live by themselves, don't hesitate to pick the phone up. Because I made a couple of calls the other day, and those young professionals were like, Jimmie, you're the first person I've talked to in 2 days. You know, and I was texting them for 2 straight days. They were texting. Like, I haven't talked to anyone. Don't hesitate to do that FaceTime, to pick the phone up, because a young professional probably wants to hear your voice. They're living by themselves, or working from home, or they're a student and they're, you know, living by themselves. So it's definitely a different situation for each and all of us. That the chaos of our family and our you know, our loved ones in our house, kids or spouses, whomever it may be, can drive us crazy, but it's still a blessing, because, you know, being by yourself, that solitude is a completely different story. So just making sure that, you know, we continue the communication. You know, we got these things with us all day, every day. You know, let's use them to do some good.
Awesome.
Follow your lead, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of looking through a couple of notes that I had. I mean, we've covered a lot of stuff, right? I think, you know,
Oh yeah.
you know, what else? I mean, do you have any other I guess, tips or advice or anything else? I mean, obviously, we've kind of go over professional stuff that we're hurdling, that we're dealing with, some different tips and advice
Yes.
professionally that we can do, especially financially, which is a huge concern right now. We've talked about some
Yes.
personal hurdles and things that we're dealing with. Especially you with the wedding and all that, and all those fears, and how to kind of navigate some of those feelings and emotions, how to communicate with some people. What other, any last minute advice or anything you have for the peeps watching?
I would say not necessarily, not any last minute advice. It's just, stick with it, that, we are all in this together, that, as you mentioned, my wedding and some of the different life events I mentioned, my heart goes out to every single senior, in the country, athlete or not, because, those are different life events that are getting delayed, postponed, or canceled. So, missing a senior season, missing a graduation, my heart goes out to all of them as well. Again, it's all of us, it's all different ages, it's all different capacities. And so, do the best you can. If it's stretching, if it's the psychological part of things, if it's a spiritual, whatever it is, power through it. Your loved ones are around. And then on the financial side, any questions, myself, my colleagues, we are all available. I encourage you to head to our website, EWMadvisors.com. We actually just redid that. Shameless plug. I'll do it if I have to. But head to that website. We got a bunch of information. We do all sorts of like blog posts and videos to educate the community. So if you have questions, you have concerns about what's going on, I encourage you to head to that website. No obligation to go in there and check it all out. Awesome.
No, thank you very much, Jimmie. And just to add to, maybe all those seniors and different people in different places in life where, obviously they've been, lack of a better term, robbed of having a certain experience that they've been really looking forward to, or their life has been kind of culminating up to. I think the best way to heal, some of those emotions and some of those feelings might just be to get outside your comfort zone and help someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't focus inward, focus outward, and use that negative energy to help change someone else's perspective or their outlook or their situation in some positive way. You will be amazed at how much that fills your heart and soul, and kind of really helps you deal with all that negative emotion. I know, heck, Fund to Life for me has been my therapy as a cancer survivor. I mean, I started Fund to Life to give back, and it's been a life-fulfilling prophecy since then. And that's what keeps me going. It's just as rewarding to me personally as it is, hopefully to the people we're able to help. And so selfishly, it helps me heal, I think, emotionally from that whole experience, but helps a lot of other people as well. And they don't have to do something, big or small. It could be anything. It could be a small, tiny gesture, and you don't know how much that might mean to the person that it's headed towards, or that's intended for. So, just take action. Don't wait. You don't know, especially in times like this, what moments might be the precious last ones that you might have with someone. So make every moment count. And I think that it's times like these that shed light on that and make us hopefully really understand and appreciate that each moment is precious, and each relationship, each conversation. If you have something hanging over your heart with somebody, or you have a grudge, or you have whatever, like, make peace with that. Now's the time to do that. You just don't know. The future is unknown, and hopefully that the times like this really reinforce that for people. And beyond that, we just on behalf of Fund to Life especially, we thank Executive Wealth Management and you for all of your guys' generous support with Fund to Life and our mission, and me personally. And we couldn't be here without you guys. And for those watching, Jimmie, shameless plug, he's my financial guy. I go to him for my help, and I need a lot of it. I need a lot of help. If you me do anything, everybody knows I need help, a lot more than financially, but Executive Wealth Management does an awesome job, and always take our best interest at heart, and that's amazing. And you guys are a blessing to our community. I thank you so much for your time and your commitment to our community. And thank you for being an awesome partner with us and everyone. So thank you,
Mark. No, yeah, and thank you. It's as I said before, and I'll continue to say, we really appreciate what you do for the community. I do on a very personal level. Just with our friendship and what that has become. So I thank you, because there are people in the Brighton community, I would say 16 to 80, that know and love you, and that's a pretty rare feat. So thank you for what you're doing and shining that light, because every time we get a chance, I think, to see what you're doing in the community, there's a smile for every single person that sees it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Jimmie.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
Mark. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank
This
you
is
very
awesome.
much. Yeah.
I got to get a fire behind me going now.
That's right. And I know we had to record this, and then we're going to be premiering it here on Facebook in a minute. But submit your questions, and we'll make sure that if they're intended for me, great, I can answer them. If they're intended for Jimmie, we'll make sure those questions get answered via private message or a phone call or what have you. But we look forward to hearing from everybody. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you.